now we will move forward for our last panel discussion, and we are going to discuss business challenges and solution for Pakistani textiles. And for that, to moderate, I would like to call Mr. Mujeebul Khan, CEO iTextile Private Limited Pakistan, Ms. Stephen Thiers, Director European Brands and Retailers, CCI USA, Mr. Khalid Tiwana, the GBO Group Pakistan, Mr. Anis M. Khawaja, Director Mahmood Group of Companies Pakistan, Mrs. Saleha Asif, CEO Pakistan Textile Council, and Mr. Jolanda Kao, co-founder Textracer, the Netherlands. Thank you so much.
So my name is Mujeebullah Khan. I represent all these fancy fibers, raw materials for textile. We are probably the largest distributor of US fibers. My challenge to the industry, and being part of the industry for the last 30 years, is that we are, and I think that figure has improved, right? But the category is about $1 trillion. So we are about not less than 2%. And if you look at the pie, Pakistan is around, I think it's less than countries who are not even known for textiles. So that's the, that's the challenge that's the hill we have to climb. And like Saleha mentioned, I think about 70% of our export is towards the West. And that's where I just wanted to bring this up. And this has been the trend pre-COVID. And I'm glad that things have improved much. But I think one of the reasons we did so well in last 2 years was because Bangladesh and India were under a lockdown. So predominantly our share of textile has been almost 65% of the total exports we do. I'm not going to give a solution because the solution will be discussed in the panel. So I'm just bringing a preamble to show you where are we. So the textile sector of Pakistan is about 58% export. Contribution to GDP is 8.5%, which is, to me, is very low. And employment is about 45% of the total workforce works in textile. And I think Pakistan remains second most dependent country on textiles to increase their exports. And if you remember the first chart, the opportunity is humongous. But the challenge to the industry is that the contribution to the GDP is very low. It's creating basic employment. It's creating low-income groups. So and we can discuss how we can improve that. And I think if you look at the total base, we are less than 2%, and we are only there are like 98 categories, and like you mentioned, we are only in 4: towel, bedsheets, denim, and t-shirts, right? So that's my preamble, just to give you guys a larger picture that how can we challenge the industry to go to the next level.
I didn't realize when I talked about violent disagreement, I would be the first one taking that option. But maybe it's a matter of perspective. But looking at the same facts, because I absolutely agree with the facts, can't dispute any of those. I actually see tremendous potential, right? The fact that we're less than 2% of global demand in textile and apparel, to me, leaves a world of opportunity for growth. So I'm just going to register that little bit of protest or note of dissent, and then I'll let others chip in.
So I've been asked to ask formal questions also. So I can ask one of you, maybe to Anis first and then Khalid later, that how are you coping up with the energy prices and the overall raw material prices and continue to grow in this scenario?
I think it's a very wide sort of a question to give a simple answer to it, but the bottom line is that whenever the cost of production goes up, the challenge with regards to making sure that we are sustaining at a level where we can grow is the real question mark for all of us. As businessmen, as entrepreneurs, this is our core responsibility that we have to react to the situation. But unfortunately, the kind of situations we faced in the last 2 years with regards to COVID and then the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the recent devastations we're seeing in Pakistan also with floods, the crop condition, and a recession now in terms of crude as well, is really disrupting our fundamentals. But at the core of our heart, and the core of our business as well, as businesses, we have to react to the situation. What really is affecting right now is the prices for the commodities in terms of gas as well as crude, which is curtailing, I believe, the demand side and ultimately affecting the whole textile chain right now. We always see a pattern, we always see a cycle which goes up and down. So we're probably at the bottom side of it right now, but it is not something which is really going to affect our long-term business. What we need to stay prepared is how we have to be stronger and more sustainable at this time. For me, it's not a worry, but it's an opportunity as well, because when you show these couple of slides, and like Saleha was mentioning here as well, what we really need is more clarity on the opportunity of what is missing. And I think for us as Pakistanis, as Pakistan businessmen, there is something which I've been advocating for a very long time. And when my very good friend William was with us here in Multan as well, this was what we were debating at that time as well, that all we need, what we've been asking on the platform of Aptoma as well, as chairman is here, we need certainty and visibility for us to grow as businesses. So these world recessions, world up and down of prices is something we can fight for. But as a government, the government needs to give us more clarity and visibility. That's what we're always asking for.
Okay, thank you. And my next question to Khalid would be, and before that, let me make a comment on what you said about the US saying no. After probably in my 25 years of representing US companies, we have a guest after 15 years, Ardal. He's here from representing Invista. And I was asked a very interesting question, and then I'll put a question to you. In Geneva a month ago, where nobody visits Pakistan, right? But and still we're able to ship things on time. Our products are generally overall expected quality. And so they asked me that what is the, I think, and my answer to them was that we are very sincere to the cause. People who are in textile are generally people who are really committed to what they do because it's their livelihood. Second, my question to Khalid, subsequent question would be that we are hearing that a lot of brands are now shifting back to Bangladesh to source, because I think the way I look at Pakistan is we are cheaper Turkey and better Bangladesh. So if anything can be done in Bangladesh, why would it, is it true or it's just a myth?
Brands are shifting. Brands continue to shift. The global apparel trade is very controlled. It's controlled by trade and tariff. Okay? I have witnessed Chinese and Taiwanese businessmen who have picked up lock, stock and barrel and moved to places like Lesotho. They've gone to Egypt. But for some reason, people in this geography want to stay put. Other thing is, which category do you want to compete in? Okay? If you want to compete in the category of a sausage factory, then I'd say don't do that, because the barriers to entry in that are very limited. It's just price. And somebody somewhere in the world will come and outbid you. You need to create barriers to entry around things like innovation. And innovation does not necessarily have to only be limited to product. It can be process and it can be production. So you need to first of all, be clear what is your reason for being relative to your competition. If you're clear about that, then you'll have a path forward. If you have a path forward and you really delve into innovation, you will always have a place on the table.
Mujeeb, if I may just
Yeah.
make a quick comment. My very good friend Ahmed Shafi here, he was just saying this outside that I think as a country, as a Pakistan textile industry, we're not able to market ourselves that well. So that is also, I feel, partly a reason that why we are not able to get the orders the way they should be coming in.
Okay, thank you. And I think my other question, it's open to the panel, whoever wants to answer. Because when we were going, we did really well, extremely well, last 2 years, and we also, and we were all saying that, China plus, right? That China is 40% of the world, we are 2% of the world, so it was piece of cake for us to do additional 2%, and we'll all be driving Ferraris. Do you think that factor still continues, or business is moving to, like Khalid mentioned, other geographies?
I think we've seen first a change in the retail landscape during COVID. As you know, many retailers, many brands didn't survive. They went bankrupt. They had to change their behavior. What was all brick and mortars had to become online. And sourcing also became different. What we saw, especially in Europe, is some retail and some brands wanted to source from near home, really. So looking maybe at the Mediterranean basins to get speed and shorter deadline. So that's something that we've seen. If this is going to be long term, I doubt it. I also feel that the relationship that the brands and retailers have established with the suppliers here in Pakistan are long ones, are very solid and based on trust. And I feel that that's very important, and that cannot be replaced.
So my question to elite panel is that, I think, where do you think we are? Because to me, there are 3 categories in retail. If you look at really $9.99, $19.99, and $29.99. And I think the more innovation you do and you move more towards but I use it as an example, that 50 cents worth of cotton is sold as $50 pair of jeans. So the more you go north and the more innovation and marketing and you create. So how does you feel about it, Khalid? That is it, why are we not moving in the higher end, up the pyramid in our retail, because I think our average garment price remains around the same bracket, whereas because the only difference you see last year is the raw material increase in price. So how do you think that we can improve and move towards the same buyers who are active in Pakistan? Because if you see the Inditex business, it's about $32 billion, right? But they're only buying basics from Pakistan. So how can we improve our product where we're able to sell it in the fast fashion at a higher price? They're able to sell it rather.
I'll answer that by saying, why do you think we are in that category? Why are we in the sausage factory category?
Right.
And which other countries are not? Turkey, for example. What does Turkey have? First of all, obviously, there's proximity to the European market. We can't change that. We can't pick up Pakistan. But then, what other things are they doing that we are not? I think you hit the nail on the head. And I've observed this. I, at a certain point in my time, was responsible for Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And I see that Pakistani entrepreneurs, when they go out to buy equipment, they buy the best of equipment.
Yeah, all European.
They will buy a Ferrari. Okay? But then, unfortunately, they will never hire that Michael Schumacher who's going to win the race. You need a Michael Schumacher besides the Ferrari. to win the Grand Prix. And there you have Mr. Aladata. So that's a criminal activity, and I don't know how to change that. I have seen that in India. They have very average plant and equipment. But a lot of them have 5 or 6 PhDs doing research over there. I once went to the Venice area where there was a laundry called Martelli.
Martelli.
And they were working for Levi, and they were doing, I'm giving you a denim example, a finish for which they were charging Levi 27 euros. And I was taken to Martelli and given a tour, and I looked at all the plant and equipment, and I was like, what's so special about that? And the plant and equipment was actually below average compared to a lot of Pakistani factories. You know what was the difference?
Human capital.
In those days, and now this is 15 years ago, Martelli, a small laundry, had a travel budget of $5 million. Okay?
Wow.
And they had 15 people who were constantly traveling to the denim centers of the world, which were Los Angeles, which was Tokyo, and with London and Paris. They were constantly on the move. And what were they doing? They were buying old denim garments from second-hand markets and replicating them and selling them.
Vintage, yeah.
Okay? So earlier on, I talked about innovation. You guys, you need to get out of this large manufacturing mindset. As I say, this sausage factory. And when you go up in the pyramid, yes, it is difficult. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be like producing one style and 3 finishes and doing 5 million garments, and yeah, you are making $20 million and you are at home and you are happy. Because if the objective of the industry is making money, then you've lost the battle. I don't see a vision. I don't see that passion. I don't see that quote unquote reason for being. Why are you in this industry? It has to be something more than making money. And if you want to climb up that pyramid, you at least need to have a certain passion for it. And you need to go after that. And you can only go after that with good people.
You want to add something, Saleha?
I was just silent clapping for him because I completely agree. So I come from a space, most people here probably don't know me. I had nothing to do with textile and apparel, and I come from a space of either finance or technology or leadership development and capability building. And I cannot underline enough, at least my belief in the investment in people is the single most important investment that any organization of any size can make. And for us, that should be our competitive advantage, right? We have these hordes of young people. We should just be upskilling them. And when I say upskilling or investing in our people, honestly, it's only partly about functional skills. I'm a huge believer in changing mindsets. And we could probably do that work starting from, topmost levels of the country or all the way through. But investing in people, increasing productivity, changing mindsets, and somewhere there's a magic formula for what is it that we lack that, prevents entrepreneurship or risk-taking. I know that we do have pockets where that does happen, but what would it take for some of that Salcoat magic to spill over more? What would it take for people to be able, to be willing to invest in building brands or going after, creating the next lingerie, which takes a lot of work, right? Why shouldn't we be doing the best lingerie in Pakistan?
So if I have to...
Why does it have to be like white t-shirts?
If I have to put this question to you, because you are taking that journey, I call it from agriculture to culture, right?
Yeah.
From a spinner
Yeah.
to real hardcore value creator.
Yeah.
So what do you think, how has been the journey? Because you're from a...
If I would not have met you enough at Frankfurt, then this journey would not have started off.
Thank you.
But Saleha also knows this journey of how we are getting through. Jeff has been a part of knowing me for the last, few years and how we are getting to where we are. But this is exactly the core now for us, that what we are focusing is not on getting bigger in terms of volume, but we are focusing more on bringing in more value-added product. I was just speaking to Rizwan here from ISA as well, that how can we collaborate together in getting more sustainable products, as well as increasing the value of our export products. So this is the new textile industry of Pakistan. This is what the vision is for a lot of us in this room as well, that we have to now think out of the box. We have to get out of our comfort zones and go into more new products. The Umar is sitting here. He's been asking me for a few years now that why are people not making enough suitcases here in Pakistan. So, this is the kind of a thought process which is engaging now. We are on a journey. We are late, but we are getting there now.
Thank you. So, Steph, let me throw it. Is made in Pakistan an hindrance in terms of buyer if you want to sell it for $100? The real high end, will they buy in the consumer market? I know we have done denim. I mean, jeans I'm selling are retailed at $800 in Europe. But is this a hindrance, or people think that, okay, it's going to be the same quality as Italian?
Can I answer that?
Oh, yeah.
50 years ago, what was made in Japan like? What's it today?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can do it. If you have the will to do it, look at the Germans, look at BMW. It was an aeroplane making company. They reinvented themselves. They maintain that aeroplane logo, but they are a mark of quality. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's common sense. I just hope it's common.
But I've seen this journey in denim, and I agree with you, it's happening. But do you, as a buyer or as a, someone who's got insight in brands, is it something we should aim for, or we continue to dig at the, bottom of thing pyramid, because there is still a few $100 billion opportunity in the bottom of pyramid?
I think that at the moment, I would say there's one thing we haven't talked about during this panel, but and you've got an advantage here too. It's sustainability, it's traceability, and that's something you can offer. So yes, price, of course, price is always important in every conversation and negotiation. But as Mrs. Asif was saying, you've done a fantastic job here. All the suppliers have worked so hard on the sustainability credentials, and that's something that you should all be proud of and showcase to the rest of the world. Because I feel that, unfortunately, sometimes people have got a misconception of Pakistan, which is terrible in itself. And people should come here. You should invite them here. They should come here more often and see by themselves what the supply chain can do here.
But thank you very much. And I think few things, there's still, because of what I was referring to, and I know you don't like comparing the industry, because a textile company with 10,000 people has potential to do about $100 million. And a technology company with 10,000 people have a potential to do about $2 billion. So, whether should we continue to focus on textile, then we have to really create a vision and something which really take us to the next level. Because if you want to be a $28 billion export, then theoretically, 90% of the Pakistan should work for textile, right? Because to do this 14 billion, I think there are 45% people working. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.